For a century, and for millions of people, they were the gateway to the world, or at least in America. They came by many formal titles, but everyone understood what they were. The train station. They came in all sizes, from breathtaking works of grand architecture employing hundreds of people to the most plain and humble frame building with one or two people doing multiple jobs. They were everywhere there was a railroad. At one time, Chicago had 6 major terminal stations serving 24 railroad lines radiating to all points of the compass. Whether in bustling cities, high in the mountains, or in the proverbial middle of nowhere, each was an essential hub of transportation, communication, and commerce. Over the last 2 centuries, we built well over 100,000 of them throughout America, and we took them for granted. Today, perhaps 1,000 survive, still in use as transportation hubs or repurposed as everything from museums and restaurants to welcome centers and art schools. Their architecture represents some of the best America had to offer, as well as some of the homeliest and most functional buildings ever built. Train stations were the sites of every facet of American history from 1830. Political movements, social change, boom and bust, and the lived lives of hundreds of millions of travelers. Park Public Square, front porch, connection to the outside world, and record of North American progress and history. Train stations offer insights available nowhere else. Join us as we survey the remarkable story of these one-of-a-kind buildings that meant so much to so many people in so many ways for such a long time. The railroad station was once an institution in American life, in small towns and big city alike. In some places, that's still true. Sometimes they were little more than shanties. Usually they were of wood frame construction, and in bigger towns, of masonry. In pre-automotive America, any place that was any place had a railroad and a hometown depot. As Americans have begun to reconnect with their past, they've often focused on these structures as touchstones, and with good reason. The depot amounted to a kind of diplomatic recognition, a legitimacy conferred by an outside entity, the railroad, that the town had a rightful role in the affairs of the nation. As such, it was often more emblematic of civic self-esteem than City Hall itself, something that was true in small towns and big cities alike. But there was something else about the hometown station that played out on a visceral and very personal level. It was a point of departure and a place to return to. It was the focus of juvenile wanderlust and the portal to adventure. It was a place that would always be a part of you, no matter where you went or how long you were away, and whether you ever returned at all. It was the place a farm kid could touch the industrial age, the place to see and be seen, the place to keep tabs on all the latest news, and the place from which the express wagon delivered the wonders of the Sears catalog. And it was the place to be when the circus came to town. It was often the only thing in a small town that even approximated the definition of urban. People went to the hometown depot for all kinds of reasons, many of which had nothing to do with catching a train. Henry David Thoreau wrote, "The startings and arrivals of the cars are now the epochs in the village day. They go and come with such regularity and precision, and their whistle can be heard so far that the farmers set their clocks by them. And thus one well-conducted institution regulates a whole country. Have not men improved somewhat in punctuality since the railroad was invented? Do they not talk and think faster in the depot than they did in the stage office? There's something electrifying in the atmosphere of the former place. To do things railroad fashion is now the byword." If the small-town depot bespoke the railroad industry's reach into every little hamlet, The big city stations spoke of their power, their wealth, and even their sense of civic responsibility. Let's visit a few of them, and in order to set the proper mood. Few buildings are vast enough to hold the sound of time, and there was a superb fitness in the fact that the one which held it better than all others should be a railroad station.